I used to play baseball and I was short. I am short. I was short, shortest one on the team. And my dad incentivized me to hit home runs, 25 cents for every home run. And so I'd go out to the diamond and just swing and swing and swing. Anyways, fast forward to the game and I'm short. So I step up to plate and you see the outfielders coming in because they have zero expectations from you. And when you first see that, you're like, wow, it's kind of deflating, right? They don't really see much in me. But after the first couple times of like then launching it over their heads because they had underestimated and they'd come in, the saddest I can feel now the satisfaction that I felt in that moment. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be the last time you underestimate me.
When I set a vision in my life and I look at my faith, my family, my business, my health, my wealth, I want other people in these real stories to hear the real stories of that journey.
I have everything that I've wanted, like in terms of family life, beautiful wife, making good money, and like my world's upside down right now in my head.
God is so good. He shows us his hands. Like people think miracles are like someone being instantly healed. It's so much more than that. They can be the smallest things where he shows his goodness in your life.
If you think of something and you believe it and you see it in your mind, it's meant for you. Go chase it.
See you in the next episode of Real Stories. Welcome back to Real Stories with Jamie Lee Bongard, where we go beyond the numbers and uncover the real journeys, the grit, the passion, and the purpose that fuel extraordinary success. Today's guest is one of the most respected names in commercial real estate across Durham region, Nicole Tanner. Nicole leads a powerhouse team of commercial professionals with Keller Williams Energy in Oshawa, specializing in commercial leasing, investment, industrial, retail, and more. Her leadership and business acumen have made her one of the go-to experts for clients looking to grow and protect their wealth through commercial assets. But beyond the spreadsheets, negotiations, and deal structures is a woman with a deep heart, a devoted wife and mother, a mentor to her team, and someone whose passion for business is matched only by her love for people and her family. Aside running her business and raising wonderful children, she annually hosts a golf tournament to raise money for sick kids and has to date raised in excess almost $1 million. At the tournament most recently, she raised $185,000. In her episode today, we'll explore Nicole's journey, how she built her thriving commercial real estate business, what drives her success, and the lessons she's learned along the way. Let's dive in and hear the real story of Nicole Tanner. Nicole Tanner, who is a renowned Keller Williams commercial agent, and her whole team specializes in commercial. And I like to sort of warm things up by asking some fun questions.
Okay.
What is a totally useless skill that you're weirdly proud of that you have?
I'm sourdough obsessed.
Okay. Do you know how to make sourdough bread?
Yes,
Okay.
I do it on a weekly basis.
Oh my gosh.
It started with my daughter spending $14 every week on a loaf of sourdough, and
You had enough of
also,
it.
I'm also super cheap. I've got the cost down to $1 a loaf, but
I love
it's
it.
weirdly cathartic, and it's something that doesn't happen quickly. It's good for you. The fermented dough is actually good for you. And it's also science-based. And so if you understand, I'm not a baker, but I am a science-based person. So sourdough is a lot about the science. And I don't know, I just connected with it, and it's very weird.
You have to bring a piece in for me. What is the one thing people assume about you that is completely wrong?
Yeah. So I think in this industry, a lot of people think that we're driven by money or commission, and it couldn't be more different for me. Like the last thing I think about is in fact the commission. I have a very core belief that if you put the interest of your clients ahead of everything else, that the success will naturally come. It will take care of itself. And so for me, I'm not money driven. I am client driven, and just in doing that have enjoyed some of the success that's come with that.
And that's important, and probably why they probably feel that during the transaction.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. What's your morning ritual, structured or spontaneous?
Structured all day long. Who doesn't love a good process?
I don't know about everyone, but you should see my house in the morning. It is structured, but slightly spontaneous. Building systems or building people?
Building people all day long.
Okay.
Yeah. I think building people, but also surrounding yourself with a really high caliber of people who are naturally driven to a greater good, whatever that is. And so when you can put the right people around you, then building them and supporting them just feels like the natural thing to do. And I think the outcome is going to be a lot better than if you just tried to go it alone.
100%. There's so many things that I've realized running businesses that I am not good at.
Yeah.
And if those certain people weren't there,
Yeah.
it would show up in an ugly way.
Yeah.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate. It's not really another choice.
And what cartoon or Disney character would best represent you?
So I had to think about this last night when you sent the question through, and I actually had to Google all the Disney characters and watch little clips. But I think the one I landed on was Princess Anna.
Oh.
And I like her because she's so perfect in her imperfections, and she gets the job done at the end of the day. She's super likable. She's always looking out for others. She's a princess, but she's not a princess. And so I think that was the character that I connected with the most.
Can you sing like her?
Not in a million years. Not doing
Trying
that.
to find out hidden
It's a hard
talents here. Awesome. So Nicole, you're a leader in commercial real estate and run one of the most successful teams in the commercial space currently in the Durham region. Can you give our listeners a peek behind the curtain? What does your business look like today?
So it's been a work in progress. The start of it was hard. It really is challenging. The most challenging thing about commercial real estate is trying to determine where to start. There's not a lot of education available. There's not a lot of mentorship available, and it's super intimidating. So, I mean, it's a long story, but I think, I think just figuring out where to start and just diving in, and that's a horrible solution, by the way. But at one point in time, it was actually when I came to Keller Williams, it just, I had one day it came to like, I either want this or I don't. Mm-hmm. I'm either going to do this or I'm going to find something else to do, because as much as I have complete I admire a lot of the very successful, highly specialized residential teams that we have at Keller Williams, it just wasn't for me. I just couldn't get excited about touring homes. It's never been my MO. I've always looked for properties that require improvement or a way to add value to a space. And so that I found myself feeling like an imposter, touring homes with clients and not really being that engaged in the experience. And I thought that it was the ultimate disservice to them. And so at that point, it became a decision of, do I continue to do this or do I find something else to do? But commercial had always appealed to me. Finding opportunity in real estate on a small or a large scale has always been something that's been interesting. And doing the research and executing it at the level that I think people deserve, that was really appealing to me. And the fact, the reason why a lot of people don't like commercial real estate is because every transaction is completely different from the last. Whereas I love that challenge, and I love that I've accumulated all these pieces of knowledge and information that cobbled together in different combinations and permutations are the right solution for this particular transaction or deal. And and that the knowledge over time, like I think that by the time, I was just saying this to my husband this weekend, the information that I have gathered from the thousands of different situations that we've been in is what allows me to serve my clients in a way that I just couldn't 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So I would say our business today is in a place where we are so knowledge-based. We know so much about what we do that we can custom deliver any solution custom built for that scenario, for that client at that particular point in their entrepreneurial journey. And just to finish on that is that I just don't authentically see myself as a commercial real estate agent or a broker. I actually identify first as a entrepreneur, business owner, and in the commercial real estate space. And so from that perspective, I have lots in common with the people that I serve because they're also business owners first in a particular space that they chose to occupy. So there's a lot of commonality, there's a lot of shared success, there's a lot of shared stress in that. And I just really like being on the journey with them.
And I can attest to your professionalism, the way you show up. I didn't really know you when we were top secret scouring Durham for our next Keller Williams Energy location.
Yeah.
And the attention to detail and the questions that we needed to know and the way that you helped us with everything was just top notch. So
Yeah.
thank you. What sectors of commercial real estate do you and your team focus on most, and what makes that work so fulfilling for you?
Yeah. So we do all things commercial real estate. So everything from, I do a lot of commercial leasing. We do industrial, we do multifamily, we do investment properties, development, we do sale of business. The one thing we specialize in is commercial real estate. We don't do any residential if it's under the column of home sweet home. If it's residential real estate from a multifamily perspective or even like an investment property standpoint, I'm all in for that. If the primary driver is to generate income or generate opportunity or create a space for your business, then that's what we focus on. I really believe in specializing in and having deep knowledge in a space. That's why we chose to dedicate full time to commercial real estate. But also my team members have their areas of expertise as well. So if we have a sale of business opportunity come in, that's going to go to Nigel all day long. And he's got such deep experience and expertise in that area that although I've done those transactions, he's way better for that than me at this point.
I love how you focus in on one thing.
Yeah.
There's a book about that.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you can become so perfected in what you're focused on with blinders on. And oftentimes there'll be people dabbling in a multitude of things.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to say the success because you can be successful in that, but it's far superior when somebody who is looking for someone to transact and sell their business or lease a commercial space goes to someone who's expert in that field to help them with a seamless process.
And it shows up in the first minute that you're talking to someone. They feel the depth of experience and your knowledge in that space. And again, it just comes back to serving their interests at the highest possible level. But then, in addition to that, there's also room for collaboration.
Yeah.
And so while I believe deeply in areas of expertise, I also think that all of us bring different perspectives and ideas and we can troubleshoot the problem in a way that's better together than individual. And so we always start our week kind of setting up the objectives for the week, talking about what's going on with each file. And then at the end of the week, there's an opportunity just to troubleshoot as well. So that piece is really important as well because it can be a lonely profession. And there in our world, there's lots of different unique challenges to every client that we're working with. And so being able to have that collective wealth of knowledge is also super helpful.
Mm-hmm. Can you take us back to where it all started? What first drew you into real estate and eventually what sparked your passion for specifically the commercial side of the business? I know that you mentioned you just didn't want to walk through any homes anymore. You had a passion and a flair for something different. So I know you zoned in, but was there something that happened, and what were you doing before?
So I would say like my dad is like full stop why I think I do what I do today. Although it wasn't actually what he wanted for me, which is interesting. But I mean, I grew up in this area. He worked at General Motors. He got a good paycheck every week, but his real passion was real estate. And so every spare penny that him and my mom had growing up, you know, and there was two pieces to it. Like he saw the opportunity. He saw what we lived in a little hamlet, and he saw what it was, but he also saw what it could be. He was very involved in the community. He pioneered a community center in the soccer fields in that little hamlet. But then he also would, because he was so involved in the community and he really believed, my father always put people first. And so in his travels, he would talk to a property owner or a farmer, and he'd say, I see you have this, you know, odd little piece of property over here. If you're ever thinking about selling it, please like reach out. I'd love to talk about that. And so over the course of time, he bought property and he would convert it into a duplex, or he would sever it and sell off lots, or like lots of different, that showed up in lots of different ways. And my parents didn't have a ton of money. So, and they had 5 children. So just kind of growing up watching that and seeing that vision when other people were just going about their business, I think that planted the seed. But what he wanted for me was a good corporate job. And, you know, when I was the first in the family to go to university, and I could see how proud that made him. And then after I finished university, I traveled a couple years in Europe, which was amazing. I saw 22 countries in 2 years, and it really opened up my eyes to that there's not just one way to do things. Like it really shifts your worldview. And when I came back, I got a job at Eli Lilly, and I worked there for 15 years. And I have a Bachelor of Science, so it seemed like a natural course of things. And that was an amazing experience. I learned a lot about business on someone else's dime. It was a fabulous way to spend my 20s and early 30s. You know, I was a national trainer, so I've been in every province in Canada many times, and all the different like pockets and, you know, outside of major cities and stuff like that. So those were really great experiences that just kind of like built a bigger view of things. But towards the end of I had an amazing job. I had an amazing job that I was super lucky to have. And again, back to my dad, super proud. I mean, he was an immigrant from Germany, to see that, like that looked like success to them for sure. So I do remember the day that I just felt, again, I like back to the imposter syndrome. I felt like there was something inside of me that just wasn't satisfied. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even when I was at work, at my job, I would call myself an entrepreneur in waiting, that I was just waiting for the right opportunity, the right time. I didn't actually know what I was waiting for. And then I started having a family, and, you know, I had a daughter, and, you know, when I was pregnant with her, I spent a lot of time thinking like, I want a daughter who's strong and knows who she is and not afraid to speak up for herself and willing to take chances and follows her dreams. And as you're kind of like repeating this mantra in your head, you're like, but I'm not following.
It's interesting how having kids or being pregnant with one changes your perspective on who you are, what you want to be. And even while they're growing up, you look at them and are like, am I creating the best example here for them? Am I actually downloading the pieces and elements of what I envisioned for myself and what I'd want them to learn from me as their mother? It's a very eye-opening journey to have little people come into the world.
And how can you possibly tell your kids to follow their dreams and that they're capable of anything if you don't have the courage to do the same thing? Mm-hmm. And it just, once that idea and that thought landed for me, it was inescapable. I just couldn't get away from it. So honestly, I left my 6-figure corporate cushy job, which had taught me so much. And I just have to stop and like appreciate that it was an incredible experience that has for sure informed how I approach my own business. And I was lucky to have that. And that was all part of the plan, right?
Yeah.
And then really what it came down to is that my perspective shifted in such a dramatic way. And as you know, we lost our firstborn. And, you know, when you experience great loss, you also, you just realize how finite life is. And while it makes you appreciate moments differently and decisions differently, and and to be present and authentic, and to understand like what you're here to do and what really matters. Like, I mean, what really matters.
Yeah.
And that was, that and all the experience and all of these little pieces came together. And then I quit my job. And that was like, oh my God, that was insane. And then just bet on, and you're like, if you can't bet on yourself, who can you bet on? And then just was trying to figure it out. And so that was really the impetus. And in the end, things had usually worked out for me. Like, I was pretty solid on work ethic and had confidence in my ability. I just had to kind of sort it out. And back to because at Lilly, I was in the training and development world. So then just going back to my roots is like starting with information and starting with learning and starting with a plan and starting with holding yourself accountable and just building it a piece by piece, and then just forgiving yourself when you don't get it right every time. And then going back to the drawing board, examining what happened and how to improve and pivot and go from there. But it's a long process, and it is one thing to not hit your objectives when you have a corporate budget and someone else's dime. It is a completely different experience when it's your family's livelihood on the line, and it's that check is coming out of your bank account.
Yeah.
And that is a wake-up call.
Yes. So for commercial real estate agents getting started and feeling intimidated in this industry, what would you say was the one thing that gave you the courage and confidence to just take that leap of faith?
The need for a paycheck was definitely real, but probably more than that was that leadership at the time. One of the owners of the brokerage, he just had such unwavering support in my ability to do this, even when I didn't have the same confidence in my ability to do this. And it was just like, it wasn't what he said. It was just the look on his face when he like, it was just, for him, it was a foregone conclusion. He knew he had found the right person to lead this. He had committed his like unwavering support and the brokerage's support to make that happen, and brought some pressure for sure. I had no idea. I had never done a commercial transaction before. And he was the first one to say to me, like, I haven't as well, but together we can figure this out. And I had come, like, previous to joining Keller Williams, I had joined a brokerage that had the most commercial real estate agents in the Durham region, thinking that I'll glean information, I'll learn from them, and then I'll figure out where to start from this. Because I knew I was either going to build a business in commercial real estate or I was going to get out of real estate. That was clear for me. So that unwavering belief, number one, and then support. And then ultimately, like, I'll never forget the day where I was like just paralyzed because I wasn't accustomed to not knowing how to approach something. And then I just sat there and I'm like, okay, you either do this. And so I drove home that day. I saw a for lease sign in a window that was handwritten on a piece of cardboard by a building owner. And I'm like, why not call that person? So I called them and I was like shaking in my boots because I'm like, I'm Nicole Tanner. I'm a commercial agent. And I just wondered if I could help you with that space that you've got for lease. And because I just knew if I didn't make that phone call, I didn't try, I just never would. Right. And anyways, she invited me in for a meeting to talk about leasing the space. I have zero idea how I got through the meeting or landed the listing, but I did. And I mean, it was a just do it. I just did it. I don't think that's the way that it should be done, but I really didn't feel like I had another choice at that time. And if I wanted to be in this space, I just had to get off my butt and make a call and start making it happen and then figure it out.
Yeah.
And so that's how that started. And then just built off one transaction to the next, built off the experience, asked questions, went to courses, like did everything that I could to learn all the things that I could from all the people that I could. But ultimately, it's just about picking up the phone and making it happen.
Yeah. No, taking action. And that's a critical piece to any pie, especially in the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah.
And
And that building owner, by the way, is still a client today.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that story. And I also love the story of I know you said you're a people-focused person, so you love to build leaders and you love to build people. And I love that you mentioned, and I'll mention his name, Chris Davies, because interestingly enough, in my own walk in looking at whether or not I would take on the third office and also sort of having imposter syndrome, he did the same with me. Yeah. And it's like, there's something really special about when somebody sees something in you and believes in you. And I think it comes full circle in leadership when now you're in those shoes and you're believing that Nigel is like the man for the job when it comes to sale of business. And it's the same thing. It's very important to recognize people's unique abilities, skills, and then make sure they know that. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that story. What are some early lessons and turning points that shaped how you approach business and leadership today?
Well, I think that is definitely one of them, that experience. And then there's a ripple out effect. I mean, I would say that I'm a very avid learner. I read lots of books. I listen to lots of podcasts. But I think I'm more a student of, and I'm a very passionate entrepreneur. And probably the greatest thing about what I do in my job is that all day long, I am speaking to and spending time with other entrepreneurs. And you do realize that we have more in common than we do apart and having that shared journey. So I would say, I mean, back to my training days when I was a trainer at Lilly, I used to have a list of rules in my classroom to follow. And number one was steal shamelessly. Like, don't be afraid to look at what other people are doing and decide what aligns with you and what doesn't. And I mean, that's the magical thing about business actually, is that there's a lot of different ways to be successful in business. Yeah. And just because one person does it one way, that doesn't mean that that's the way that you have to do it. Sure, there's some commonality, there's some core principles that are pretty consistent and tried and true. And especially in this world where we're exposed to we have so many different ways to consume content. And I'm entrepreneur obsessed, and I'm all about their journey, and I'm all about being really curious about what their experience has been and hearing their story and then pulling parts of that then inform the way that I evolve my business. And it's an evolution. The way we start is not the way we finish, but just finding that authentic way to run your business and be a leader. And here's another thing that I learned from a friend / mentor that I worked with at Lilly. When there was a time I was very frustrated with how things were going, and I wasn't getting the results from others that I wanted. Mm-hmm. And and his words to me were like, you're expecting other people to be Nicole Tanner, and they're not. And you have to accept that about them and find ways to make them shine in their skin. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, I hadn't even known that about myself. But the minute that the words were said, I'm like, that is 100% it. I can't expect other people to be successful in the way that I'm successful. You have to help them to be successful in the way that they're successful. And that was, so just finding those gems along the way and owning that and finding a way to incorporate that and taking the pressure off yourself to know everything, because you don't, but you can learn and you can grow and find ways to build that into your business to make it more successful and authentic.
No, that's great. And I think as a leader, it's so important to be aware of each person's ability and then also zone in on, okay, that person's success and they have a formula that's worked for them. Who else could model parts of that formula that has similar unique abilities and get the same success? And it can be from an entirely different industry, but there is a formula and everyone takes a different route or way to get there. And being attentive to what that is and being able to copy it, rip off and duplicate in your own way really is what creates success long term.
Yeah.
And you trip and you stumble and do a cartwheel along the way sometimes, but get back up and keep going. Every great entrepreneur has a defining moment, a setback, a risk they've taken, or a breakthrough deal or life-changing moment that changed everything. Do you have one or a couple that you'd like to share?
I mean, I've mentioned a couple of them already. Is that just giving yourself that giant kick in the ass to do what you need to do? Honestly, our journey is made up of a million different pieces. And I really love being a part of somebody else's success. And that goes back to my training days. I mean, training people about something that they come in knowing nothing about, and then watching them go out and execute in a really impressive way, and knowing in your mind, I was a tiny piece of that. That is a drug. And once you get a taste of that, then it just you want to see where else you can take that. So I'm super fortunate to have that in every client that I work with and every team member that I work with. And it's collaboration, and it's just about saying identifying what are the goals here? What is this person trying to accomplish, whether it's a client or a team member? And then how do we make that happen, right? And so to have one defining moment, I think just giving myself permission to go for it was the biggest defining moment. It felt like a huge risk. And then I would say that the biggest successes for me have come from the biggest failures. And I won't bore you with the details, but I've gone to small claims court. I've done just this week I've had two examples where I have two very challenging situations, and in the end, I'm in a really strong position because our paperwork is tight, but the paperwork is tight and the documents, the offers are tight because I learned some hard lessons along the way. And then from those hard lessons, you just look at your practices and you think, okay, well, this is where we need to process and improve. And for me, a lot of what we do is in the documentation. And that's not very glitzy and you don't often talk about it, but I've had more great offer paperwork save our skin and set our clients up to be in a power position than anything that I do in the negotiation. Having a strong foundation is the key to everything in what I do. Yeah. And so I'm very proud of how we approach our deals from a paperwork standpoint. It's really important, and it's not something that we actually talk about enough.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen a lot of interesting things. And a client choosing who represents them and someone who's really diligent on the back end and that's something that people don't actually often see with the realtor that they're choosing or the broker they're choosing, because it just happens.
Yeah.
But what is in that paperwork really matters, especially in
Yeah.
moments of what you're sharing now.
And I talk about it on listing presentations. Like our transaction coordinator is a paralegal. That was intentional. Like I needed somebody who was solid, who understood the value of a strong contract. And I know I'm seeming super excited about contracts.
That's a good thing.
But I mean, it's insurance is what it is.
Yeah.
And I talk about it in listing presentations, and it is not impressive. In a listing presentation,
You're boring
I'll tell
me.
you when it is impressive. When we just have a situation now where we got a message from the buyer's agent that the buyer can't close because they don't have the financing. Well, we've got no worries on our end because number one, we got personal indemnification. And number two, we gave the buyer a due diligence period. So there's just a quick example of why it matters. And it's not impressive when you talk about it, but it is super impressive when that stuff comes to pass.
Definitely. Okay. Being a woman in commercial real estate is a part of your journey. Is there any advice you'd give other women agents looking to break through in this space?
So I'd be lying if I said that I didn't love being a disruptor. I feel like I've always been attracted to areas where you don't expect me to be. And commercial real estate is definitely one of it is male dominated, and that is changing, and that is great to see. But there's like all areas of women in leadership, there's so much more room to go there. But I mean, honestly, if I take it back to my childhood, I can tell you about a moment where I knew exactly who I was and what I was meant to be. I used to play baseball, and I was short. I am short. I was short, shortest one on the team. And my dad incentivized me to hit home runs, and I'm results like geared for sure. And so 25 cents for every home run.
Big bucks. No wonder you're budget savvy. You had to figure out
25 cents. And so I'd go out to the diamond and just swing and swing and swing. Anyways, fast forward to the game, and I'm short, so I step up to plate, and you see the outfielders coming in because they have zero expectations from you. And when you first see that, you're like, wow, it's kind of deflating, right? They don't really see much in me. But after the first couple times of like then launching it over their heads because they had underestimated and they'd come in, the saddest I can feel now the satisfaction that I felt in that moment. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be the last time you underestimate me.
I love it.
And
an
so
awesome story.
I can't remember what the question was.
Being a woman in real estate, is there any advice you'd give to other women agents looking to break through in this space?
Yeah, so I think being a woman in commercial real estate is definitely kind of that, don't underestimate me. Like I will exceed your expectations. Like that's a given. But also don't be what you think they expect. Like be you. And in commercial real estate, there is no shortage of ego, and it's infuriating and it frustrates transactions. It actually doesn't accomplish objectives. It gets in the way more than it's helpful. But when you first get into commercial real estate, you feel a little bit like you have to that's the bravado. That's what's expected. That's what people expect. That's what clients expect. That's how you get deals. And then just giving yourself permission when you realize that is actually not how things get done. Mm-hmm. And so peeling that back and saying, you know what, that is not actually how I do business. So it was super awkward when you try to be something that you're not. And then just giving yourself permission to do it your way. So that was very liberating, and actually where the real success started to come because people were refreshed. Mm-hmm. Once they figure out you know what you're talking about, then just having permission to let you take over and take the wheel and help them, that is honestly why they're hiring you.
Yeah.
So that was really important. And then just keeping, in commercial real estate, people keep their cards very close to their chest. And not how I operate. I am best when I'm surrounded by people who are really good at what they do. And so an initiative that you know about is I started a commercial mastermind for local commercial brokers who are dedicated full-time commercial real estate agents, different brokerages. You don't have to be in my brokerage. And once a month we get together for breakfast and we talk. And when we started, you could see that people were super apprehensive, like, what is happening
Why
right
are we
now?
sharing?
Do we share? Is that what I'm supposed to do here? But it took a few meetings and people come religiously. It doesn't need to be a big group. It's a small group because there's not many of us that do this in a really serious way. And I think it's a highlight now. I'm so proud of this. And it's breaking down these common conceptions and saying, like, is this the right way to do things? Is this how we do things moving forward? Or is there a better way?
No, it's been amazing to witness. And I've loved seeing your clarity this year and your vision and what you want to accomplish and just getting things done.
Yeah.
And that meeting's been really awesome to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, not watch because I'm not a commercial agent, but witness you put together and lead.
Yeah.
So thank you for your leadership and for bringing the KW family culture forth. Like, come for breakfast. And they're like, whoa, what's happening here? That's the KW culture.
Yeah.
So talking about family, how has your family and loved one played a role in your story? So obviously you're a mom and you run an amazing business. What does balance look like for you between business and home life? And do you ever overlay or incorporate? Or how do you structure that?
Yeah. Well, I think just based on our journey, like, it showed up for me pretty early. I mean, I come from a great family, so let's start there. And there was always a lot of love, and my parents were very present, and I was very close with them up to their dying day. And, even since then, like, miss them greatly, right? And so that's how you know, like, I've got the right foundation. And then with our own journey, just, family is everything. Like, nothing else matters, really. And so, I mean, I want my kids to see my husband and I doing our life's work and being satisfied and happy and contributing and having a strong work ethic and showing up with purpose. Like, these are all great traits for your kids to witness in real time. My kids are so informed about real estate and they're so knowledgeable about what my husband's a contractor, what we both do, that is only going to serve them in their life. And I'm super clear on that. I don't mind them seeing me work hard or work late on occasion if that's what the situation calls for. They're aware of what I'm doing. They ask me about deals that I'm working on. Like, it's crazy. But I also give myself permission to leave and go be present. Like, I don't miss games and I drive them. I love the time in the car. I love watching their journey. And so for me, I would rather lose a deal or two over the course of a year and be at every hockey game and every soccer game. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, making another whatever just doesn't matter compared to that. So it's a balance. It's a balance of showing them what this looks like and how you achieve the things that you want to achieve so that you have the time that you want to have, right? But then just being super present, like super present. And when I'm with them, they have my undivided attention. And I have good kids. Like, I'm so grateful. I have good kids. They are good humans. You can have a conversation with them. They have a vision. They have goals, like, it's all the things. They're not perfect kids, but they're pretty damn close. So
I love it. And this is just a curiosity question because we're very much with Keller Williams about building a life by design, helping entrepreneurs thrive. And obviously I wasn't the owner here since you became a part of this. And I know that Chris Davies and Sue Davies did an incredible job with people, very family focused culture. would you say that being tied in with this group of agents here has helped you as a leader, helped you support your business growth, and even a little bit with how you've set up your dynamic between business and home life?
It's a match. It's a fit for sure. I think that Keller Williams is very strong in their core beliefs and who they are. And that, it looks a little bit different at different times, but the core values are the same. Mm-hmm. And they align with my core values. And sometimes we get it really right, and sometimes it's a little off the mark. But at the end of the day, you never question anybody's intention for what they're trying to accomplish here. And it is always what I appreciate is that it's always about the greater good. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not a bunch of individual agents trying to run our master universe here. There is a genuine, authentic environment of support and willingness to help.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me for sure. And then just the support that I got right out of the gates to make something that was important to me happen. That was powerful. And that's something that when you receive that kind of gift, there's a loyalty that is created that, I wouldn't have even have expected that, but it's so deeply ingrained in me, that loyalty. But then there's also I want to give it back. Mm-hmm. I want to be a part. There's that joy in seeing other people in the business be successful as well. And that doesn't exist in every brokerage. And so I think that's super special about being at Keller Williams. So it just aligns. It aligns with my core values, even when it was at the beginning of my journey or where we are now.
Well, thank you for sharing. I love hearing that story about someone seeing something in you and seeing where you are today.
Yeah.
So, when people think of Nicole Tanner, what do you hope they say about how you've shown up in business and in life?
I'm all in, and I have a core value in my business of putting the needs of my clients ahead of my own. I have said that in my head a million times, and I want people to feel that when they meet with me, when they talk with me. I want my kids to feel that. Mm-hmm. And so I think that piece has been really important for how I show up in my business. And I want, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, whether it's my business or otherwise, I want people to remember me for the things that I gave. And so, at the end for me, it's going to be about my legacy will be my children, and it will be what I gave back. And I'm sure we'll talk about it, but what we've done, Toronto Sick Kids has done more for me and my family than I can ever repay. But, we've raised almost $1 million for the cardiac critical care unit at Sick Kids. And it'll never be enough, but it's a small piece of what I can do for them. And I know, and then that's the accomplishment, non-family related. That's the accomplishment in my life that I'm the most proud of. And I did not do that alone. That's the other piece that I'm proud of. You can't do that alone.
Yeah.
You need the support of others. But the fact that we've done it, and I set out $1 million lifetime goal, and my goal became the goal of those around me. And we're flirting with it right now.
So exciting.
And I know that's not the end, but it's satisfying in a way that you can't even anticipate.
Mm-hmm. And seeing you this summer raise $185,000 in your one-day charity golf tournament, pretty incredible. And seeing you consistently year over year, just have the golf tournament sell out, and it's really awesome to watch.
But I'll say something about that. And it was a very humbling moment. We had a sponsor show up with $100,000 check for us, and in that moment, you're like, what is happening right now? Like it was a surprise. They literally showed up at my house one night with my co-founder in the tournament with a check for $100,000. Like, and I didn't have the right words. I was caught off guard. But when I really, like, you sit and you think about it and you realize that doesn't happen in your first year doing something. That $100,000 donation showed up because we had consistently done something well and created a very loyal group of supporters over a very long period of time. That was our 13th golf tournament. And the organization that showed up with that check had been a participant and just silently admiring what we were doing, how we were doing it, and why we were doing it. And then unbeknownst to us, they had the opportunity and they chose our charity. We didn't pitch for it. We didn't ask for it. They literally showed up at my house. I think it was a Thursday night with a check for $100,000. And that impacted me in a huge way because I realized you never know who's watching what you're doing.
You really don't.
You don't know what the opportunities are. And that was the greatest opportunity because that was for a hospital that I couldn't believe more in. But I was like, you don't get that in your first year. That comes when you commit to something in a huge way over a long period of time.
Yes. Yeah. And it's an incredible story. I remember you telling that at our Agent Leadership Council and just thinking, wow, so exciting. What do you want your children to see and learn from watching you lead and build this business? And I guess I'll add to it, is there a legacy that you hope to leave for your team, your clients, and your community? Can wrap it all in.
Yeah. I think the give back, I think being a part of a community, it's not about you. It's about your contribution to the community. It is about dreaming big. It's about thinking big and giving yourself permission to go for it. But then following that up in short order with like the work ethic. Like dreams aren't gifts. They come from a lot of hard work and focus and humility and experience and tough lessons along the way. So I want my kids to really see the opportunity. And success isn't always money. I mean, it really, when the older you get, the more you realize that success really isn't money. Success is happiness. And I talk to my kids a lot about this because I want them to realize that happiness looks like a lot of different things. And, you know, there's a lot of pressure on kids, and I want them to realize that just because you make a decision today, because that's the right decision today, just like my experience at Lily, it wasn't the wrong decision. I don't wish I didn't go there. It was a really important piece of the entire journey. I learned a lot there. So you give back to them, but then you also take and learn and grow and then decide what's next. And so I think the legacy is what are you giving back? Whether it's what are you building? How do you show up? What's your work ethic? How do you see people and work with people and not against them? I mean, for me, that's the legacy, and it is not financially related.
And you're well on your way.
I think so.
Done some pretty awesome stuff. If we sat down again 1 year from now, what would we be celebrating with you and your team?
Progress.
I love it. I think we'll definitely see that.
Yeah.
If there's something or a riddle that you're trying to still solve right now, or something that you're chasing or extremely curious about that even with your success, you're still like, oh my gosh, I want to focus on this and figure it out, what would that be?
I'm trying to merge my past life with my current life. I have enjoyed success with clients, leading the transaction and having a small team. I'm looking to shift it so that I can be more a part of other people's success. I would love to create a really important training platform for those who feel drawn or called to commercial real estate and help them to know where to start and to be successful in their start and not just flying blind like I did. So I want to be a part of that. I think there's a huge opportunity, and I just think it would be so satisfying to help people to pull that together in a way and shorten the amount of time. It took me longer than it should have to really find my groove and get some traction. So I want to help people to shorten that. And then just, it just grow. Like we figured out a lot of things. And so I want to take that. And the next level for me really looks like building out the team a little bit more with subject matter experts, and then helping others on their own journey to be more successful in commercial real estate faster.
Awesome. So people development basically ties right back to your goal.
Yes.
A couple last things. Is there something I didn't touch on or ask you so far that you want to mention?
I don't know. I feel like we talked about a lot.
We did. We did. And I know family matters so much to you. I'm going to ask you one last question. Installing a work ethic is so important. I see you do that a lot with your daughter. People, like you said, are watching. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. Yeah. Do you want to just share like a little bit of what you're doing there to inspire other entrepreneurial mothers, fathers to help their child learn along this curiosity stage that your daughter and your children are in, how you do that? Like, what are some examples of what you do? Because I find it very fascinating.
So I would say, for me, and I don't want to get emotional. So for me, it starts and it ends with Reed. Because when he was, because I saw what a tiny human did with the very little physically that he was given in life. And again, when you think about that, you're just like, wow. Like I look at so this is a 3.5-year-old that now has inspired thousands of people to come together over the course of those 13 years at the tournament, raise almost $1 million, giving back in the biggest way. And you just his impact in this world is undeniable. And when you look at your kids, you just want them to leave this world a better place than they found it. And so from a mother's standpoint, you can't be prouder than that. Mm-hmm. And the way that he did it, the way he showed up, so positive and joyful. And when he literally had so much to feel bad about. So that's the core that I try to bring to my kids, but I also want them to realize their absolute potential, but be happy doing it. This can't be about financial success. This has to be about happiness. And then not speaking to them like they're a kid. I've always had really adult conversations with my kids, my daughter specifically, and they ask questions and you answer questions and they ask about my business. If I'm not at home, I want them to know what I'm doing, why I'm not there. What's more important than spending that moment with them, right? Mm-hmm. But I also want to be a leader for them to do that. So I think bringing them on that journey. And the other day, I got a text message from my daughter. She's at school. And this random text lands on my phone. How many transactions would I need to do in a month to make $10,000? So I'm like, okay, well, that's a conversation for sure. And then I got home that night and she pulled up all these listings that she liked and she wanted to go through them with me and show them why she liked these listings. Now, these homes were all pimped out, beautiful, staged properties. And so that brought on a conversation of this is actually not the property that you're looking for. You're looking for the ugly one in the amazing neighborhood. And so we're planning a day to go out, do an open house tour, to go look at all different types of properties and have a conversation for what a good investment in real estate looks like. And I would invite her to bring some friends along with her, because I think you can't start that conversation too early. And just yesterday at a brokerage meeting, actually, I introduced the idea of having like a young investors group where any high school aged kid can come in, because you're just planting seeds at this point. And my daughter specifically has a job, and she's already looking at like putting a portion of our income aside, because I told her the story of a 19-year-old girl who bought her first investment property in this day and age.
Yeah.
And she was like, if she can do it at 19, why can't I do it at 18? Like,
I love that she's thinking about that. And it's so important. I have the same, like with my son, he's got a piggy bank. He does save, invest, donate, spend. His 2 slots, save and invest, are so full. I said, Friday, we got to go get that out to the bank. But I want to thank you so much for your time today, Nicole. It was extremely impactful. I love that we touched on so many important topics, and all that you're doing for the community, for your people in your commercial business. And I just thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.